Hi, welcome back. It's been a while since I've been here. Don't think I filmed in like almost a month. The last video I posted was the Magnolia Parks video, and I had planned on doing some other videos in the interim, but life got really crazy busy, and then I went on vacation, and suddenly it's been a month. That's okay. We have really fun stuff coming up. Before we jumped into those, I wanted to do the Mid-Yar Freakout Tag because I wanted to talk about books I've been reading and loving this year so far. And also I wanted to do like updates. I will timestamp them below in case you don't care about the updates, because I'm going to let you know they're like chatty and maybe like boring too. But also maybe fun. You won't know until you stick around. I have like a bunch of updates. They're quite random and in no particular order. It's just like how I thought of them and wrote them down on this little piece of paper. The first one is I got a new computer, guys. This is an update only if you really are like a close watcher and thinker and listener to the earliest Throne of Glass videos, because I think I talked about one of the reasons that those initial videos got broken up into so many parts is because my computer was an ancient lady, and she was an ancient lady, and I got better. I like learned more tricks to like make sure she was editing videos at her fullest capacity, but she was a computer that I got in the year 2013, so she was 12 years old. And it was time for me to get a new computer. And I finally did bite the bullet and get a new computer. This probably will affect you zero. But hopefully it will make my life easier, which would be fun. Update 2. This is not my personal update, but it's our update as a people. And that is Sarah J. Maas has finally given us a little nugget about the next ACOTAR book. It is just that she's finished the first draft of what she's calling ACOTAR 6, which I assume is just like the next ACOTAR book. I don't think she wrote 5 and then it also wrote 6. And some people have crazy theories about like what is happening, and she's actually written like 6 through 8. And like beloveds, there's no way her publisher is going to let her publish 3 books at a time, or even like 3 books in the same year. She's getting 1 book a year. Maybe one every 6 months if they're feeling real feisty. So like even if she's written the next 3 books, which doesn't really make sense to me, we're not getting them. I think we'll probably get the next ACOTAR book in early spring of next year if like she truly did finish that draft when she said she did. I also think there might be an option in which she said that she finished that draft when she said she did, in order to kind of like start the publication like hype machine a little early, and we'll get it at the very end of this year. But I don't know. We don't have any announcements yet. Like, books have to go through. That was her first draft. I'm sure she'll have to go through a couple rounds of edits, and then they need to like get typeset, and then they need to go to like production, and you need your book like completely set in stone before it can go to like the printer and get printed, and before copies can get made and they can get sent to all the bookstores. So I think it'll be a while yet until we get ACOTAR 6. Like I said, my guess is early spring, like February, March of next year, like 9 months from now. But I'm excited about it, obviously. We should be through our ACOTAR recap that we're doing together by that point. I'm planning, the loose plan is to be done fully by the end of the year, to like get through everything by the end of the year, even with the like breaks we're taking to do other stuff. So the next videos that are really coming out, the next recaps, will be the Crowns of Nyaxia books. So we have Songbird and the Heart of Stone, and Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. Both of those coming out, so we're prepared for the Crowns of Nyaxia next book that's coming out. I can't remember what the title is. Whatever the title of that book is, we're going to be ready for it. Also, in exciting news, I'm actually going to go to a Carissa Broadbent event. She's like in Colorado the Friday after the book comes out, I think, and I was available. I saw like tickets that were available. That's a date I'm free. And so I very excitedly snatched one up. I do believe there are tickets still available. If there are, I will like put stuff here. I'm going all by myself, so if you live in Colorado and you want to go to the Carissa Broadbent event and you want a buddy, you want a pal, you should DM me on Instagram. But regardless, I shall be going, and so that's exciting. I'm really excited to see her. I really love her stuff. I'm like spent all morning this morning working on notes for Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, because that should be the first video that comes out next week. I was just finishing them up, and it's really good. Like, I forget how much I really enjoy these books. Another thing I wanted to talk about briefly in the like update section is I like teased the Throne of Glass video essay, and then where was it? Where was it, Nichelle? You said you were going to put it out, and then you didn't. That was the video that kind of got swept away in the chaos of the summer, and it will be coming out eventually. It's been a project I've been working on since I finished the recaps at the end of last year, and I am like really excited to share it with you guys, but I really want to make sure that I have like the time and space necessary to like put it together, and I just didn't want to rush it. And so it will be coming out eventually when it could like slot in sooner rather than later, I think. But the Crowns of Myaxia stuff has to come first, just because of, you know, we got to be ready for the next book to come out. In news that really doesn't affect you very much, but I wanted to share because it was exciting. I did finish a draft of a new novel. I know. If you aren't familiar with me, hi, I'm an author as well as a reader. I have one book out. I have another book that's coming out in November, and I just finished a draft of what hopefully will one day be my third book. This book is not contracted. I don't have it sold to a publisher right now. In the process, what happens is I write a draft of it. I send it to my agent. I've like talked about it with my agent a little bit, but send it to my agent. If she likes it, we'll edit it together, and then it will go on submission, which is where I try to sell it to publishing houses. And so it's like very early in the process. The likelihood of it actually making it to book form one day is like definitely not 100%. I would say closer to like 50, maybe even lower than that. Like, it's hard to get a book published. We've been calling it The Museum. It is a Rebecca retelling, very loosely, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and it takes place in this like coastal art museum in Maine. And so it's like a gothic romance, slight thriller vibes, art museum vibes. Hopefully one day you'll see it on shelves. Last thing, we really buried it because I wanted to make sure this is for the true girlies that are like really paying attention, are really committed to the bit here, is I'm really seriously considering doing a Patreon, because I really desperately want to do a From Blood and Ash reread before the last book in the series comes out, and I want to do it with you guys. There's just absolutely no way on heaven or on earth for me to do it up like I did for Throne of Glass and that I'm doing for ACOTAR right now, and like do the visuals and break it into parts. We just like literally don't have enough weeks. This is a long series, because I would include that secondary series as well. I don't know, whatever the series that follows the other girly. I don't remember anyone's names in the series. I would want to do that as well. And so it's 9 books that need to be read. Like, essentially we need to start now and read a book a week. I also think it'd be like really fun to do some sort of like monthly-ish like book club over there to talk about books that I like want to read in the like romantasy, maybe even rom-com sort of genre, fantasy, I don't know, whatever we feel interested in. I'll read anything. Where we talked about them in a like slightly more casual way, and in a way in which you're getting like my first impressions of things, because my recaps books, I always have to read them first, and then I like read them to take notes on them and prep them for the recap. Like, it's a much more intensive process, and you're not getting my first reactions to most things. And so I would love to do something that's like a little bit more like casual, a little bit more easy breezy, that we could like read books together and maybe read more things that are like coming out and we're like not sure if they're going to be good and we're going to enjoy them. Tell me what you think here. And then what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to make a Patreon page, but I'm going to make it so the membership is a free membership for now. I will probably put it behind a paywall. Obviously never want to take away from the stuff I'm doing on my YouTube channel, but I just do think that Patreon offers an opportunity to, one, do things that are less like focused on the algorithms. Like, you can really just pick things that, you know, like the people that are in your community are interested in, rather than like me like trying to like figure out what the algorithm is going to want, and also a way for us to like chat, and also a way for me to get paid for my work, which like we love all of those things. So that's happening. If you have thoughts about it, leave them in the comments or leave them on the Patreon. Like I said, for now I'm going to have it set up so it's going to be like a free membership, and we can kind of like assess how we're feeling about these options. All right, Mid-Yar Freakout Tag time. If you skipped over the updates, hi, welcome back. We're so excited to have you. If you were there for the updates, you know things that other people don't. It's like a little past the mid-year, but I like really, these are the type of tags I don't like doing early or too early, you know, because you really want to get the full 6 months of the year. And like the mid-year was like July 1st, and it's now like July 11th. So we're only like a few days late. So the first question on the Mid-Yar Freakout Tag is, what is the best book that you have read so far this year? And this one is, I actually only have like one real 5-star for this year, and it's this book. And it's nonfiction. What? That's crazy. And it is Doppelganger by Naomi Klein. I listened to this book. I did the audiobook and it was excellent. I would highly recommend it. And it took me like a couple months to get through. Like it is like, I wouldn't say it's dense. Like it's very readable, but it has like a lot of information and I wanted time to like chew on it and process it. Doppelganger is this nonfiction book that follows this woman, Naomi Klein, the woman writing this book, as she kind of explores the phenomenon of this doppelganger that she personally has. There is this woman named Naomi Wolf who is like a alt-right sort of speaker. She wasn't always, she like started in the more like feminist realm, but especially during COVID has become this like anti-vaxxer alt-right woman. And she talks about, this whole book kind of like follows her experience with this other Naomi, she calls her, and having this doppelganger, but she uses it to so beautifully analyze like modern day internet culture. I think she does such a gorgeous job of kind of, particularly in these like 5 years since like COVID, talking about how the internet has changed the way we interact as people, both on and offline, and how like us as individuals interact with the internet and how the internet kind of like interacts with us. It is fascinating. I think it is a great analysis of like the current political climate in the United States, as well as like a really interesting analysis of like internet culture. It's really smart. It's really great. I think it's won a lot of prizes because it's so smart and great. But I would highly recommend it. Like I said, the audiobook was fantastic. Next, the best sequel you've read so far. In a completely different vein, the best sequel I've read so far. And one of the only sequels I've read, I have not read really any, that's not true. I have read very few like fantasy books this year. If I've read them, you've seen the recaps on them pretty much or I guess not. I guess I haven't done a recap of Onyx Storm yet. But like Onyx Storm and Songbird and The Heart of Stone are like the only two fantasy books I've really read so far this year that I can remember. And so my sequel that is my favorite is Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood, because that book is a sequel to Not in Love. And it's so delicious and delightful. It is a rom-com, obviously, and it follows Maya and I can't remember the boy's name. And they are in Sicily for Maya's brother's wedding. He is the guy from Not in Love. The couple from like Not in Love is getting married. So we're at their wedding in Sicily and we have Maya and again the man whose name I can't remember, and they have like a huge age gap. That's why it's a problematic summer romance. But like there's chemistry between them. And also tension. And they were like friends for a while and then something happened and we like get both timelines. It is so fantastic. Last year I like became an Ali Hazelwood convert. Like I will forever be apologizing for my response to Love Hypothesis because it was incorrect. I was like, why is everyone obsessed with this book? I don't like it at all. And I haven't reread The Love Hypothesis, but like I feel sorry that I ever said anything bad about Ali Hazelwood because she's a queen. She's a queen amongst us. One, she's publishing a book like every 10 minutes. I look around and there's another Ali Hazelwood getting popped out and I'm obsessed with them. I'm eating them up. Keep writing them, Ali. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. You're the best. I like just truly have like, I like understood it. I think I was not in a good headspace when I read The Love Hypothesis and I didn't understand that Ali Hazelwood is here to cultivate joy for the girlies. And how can I be mad at her for that? Next up is a new release that you haven't read but want to. And this has to be Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I consider Taylor Jenkins Reid to be one of my big three. My big three being Emily Henry, Taylor Jenkins Reid, and Sarah J. Maas. I'm just like other girls. And I haven't read Atmosphere yet. It is her newest release. I think it only came out like a month ago. I tried to buy it at the airport and they were sold out. I said I was going to read that on the plane. It's okay. I read something else on the plane. I think we'll actually talk about it later. But I don't have my hands on it yet. I don't have a copy. I haven't gotten it from the library. Like, has not been in my presence yet. But I'm excited to read it. Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of the queens of my heart. And I'm sure I'm going to love it. It's about a girl who goes to space. Pretty sure. What is my most anticipated release for the second half of this year? I have two. I could narrow it down to one because I have two that I'm equally excited about. The first one is Catabasis. I don't know. Why are you making me pronounce tricky things in the title of your book? By Arf Kwong. I still haven't read The Poppy War, but I was so obsessed with Babel. Like Babel, I still think about probably once a week. Like it really changed the way I thought about language. Also, I'm just like so impressed with Arf Kwong in general. She's just so smart and brilliant. Her books are so fun being like, they'll make you cry, but like so engaging and dynamic. And she's also just like getting her PhD and like also has like 27 degrees and is like the smartest woman anyone has ever met. And I just am obsessed with her. This one is a dark academia. I think it might be a romance. Don't quote me on that one. About these 2 grad students who have to descend into hell to rescue their advisor. It sounds like Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which I also thoroughly enjoyed. And so I'm just like so excited for it. I think it's going to be so fantastic. I cannot wait. And then my other release that I'm so excited about is Manacled. No, it's not Manacled anymore. It's called Alchemized by Senlin Yu. And it used to be Manacled. If you are on the internet, you might know it as Manacled. And it was a Hermione fanfiction that has then been rewritten to kind of untangle itself from the Harry Potter universe and is now coming out as like a standalone novel. I really thoroughly enjoyed is, again, too nice of a word. It was a miserable time, but like what a thrilling misery it was. Read Manacled online, and I was so impressed with it. I thought it was so fantastic. I'm really excited to see how Senlin Yu adapts it to pull it out of the Harry Potter universe. And I know it now focuses on like alchemy. That's why it's called Alchemized. Like the magic system is focused on that, which I think is going to be really interesting. I'm excited to see what she does with the magic system. It is a dark, dark book. If it is anything like Manacled, which I'm sure it is pretty dark. We are post this like major war in which the like bad guys have won. The bad guys have taken over, and we're following this woman whose memory is like completely gone, and she's taken in like kind of a Handmaid's Tale sort of situation into this man's house to act as like a surrogate essentially for his family, and like kind of a slavery sort of situation. And it's quite dark, but oh, it's good. It's really good. I'm excited. Well, I haven't read it. Okay, I'm telling you it's really good. It could be terrible, but Manacled is really good, and so I'm assuming this adaptation will also be fantastic. And then we have the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise was a book I read early for a video I think I scrapped. I read John Proctor's The Villain by Kimberly Bellflower because it was one of Carly from UnCarly, the YouTube channel's favorite books from the year before. It is actually a play. It is currently on Broadway with Sadie Sink. And the play, just like reading the play, I haven't seen it with Sadie Sink. Would love to. If anyone wants to fly me out to New York and send me to that play, happy to do it. The play itself, just like reading it, was like fantastic. It is such a, it's the story of this like high school class that's reading The Crucible, the like story that I feel like is taught in a lot of high schools that takes place during the Salem witch trials and is kind of like a metaphor for like the Red Scare during the 1950s. And it's about these young women reading The Crucible and at the same time having these conversations in their own lives about kind of like the Me Too movement and their kind of like the ripples of that, and discussing kind of the men in their own lives, especially these like adult men. They're like fathers and teachers and just these men in leadership, and but also like their peers and their relationship to power between this. I thought it was such a beautiful and complicated look at one, just like being a teenage girl and like the intricacies of the relationships of that time period, but also the effects of the Me Too movement on teenage girls and how they see themselves in each other. And it is really powerful. I cried at the end of the play just reading it. Yeah, I think it is fantastic. If you can't get yourself to New York to see it with Sadie Sink, I would recommend finding the play and reading it. My favorite new author. This one was a hard one because I have not had a great reading year. I haven't like complained about that in this video yet, but this has been one of the worst reading years I've had since I graduated college. Because in college I didn't read very much because I was busy doing college, but post-college I like started to read pretty, like a lot. And this year I've read somewhere in the low 20s books at the halfway point. Like we're gonna, fingers crossed, hit 50, which is like, that's crazy. That's the lowest I've read in a long time. There was a couple years back where I read 150 books, and now we're like at a third of that. And I'm kind of like, I'm like sad. I'm saddened by this. And a lot of the things I've been reading are like authors that I know are gonna hit. But I did have a read that I was like a new to me author. I think she's new. I actually think this is her only book that she has out. I think she was a debut with this book, and I don't think her second book has come out yet. And that is Kate Goldbeck. She wrote the book You Again, which is the story of, it's like a Harry Met Sally retelling, but which means nothing to me. I say that because the book told me to say that. I don't know anything about Harry Met Sally. We're following these two people. They meet initially because like her roommate is dating him, and they keep bumping into each other and having these interactions where they like hate each other. They like keep butting heads. But then after they're both kind of like reeling, we're following them over the course of years. After they both kind of end up in these like really bad breakups, they wind up like bumping into each other and becoming friends and then becoming more. It was so good. It was so fantastic. I loved the characters so much. I loved the writing so much. I am so excited to read what she has coming out next. I do believe I've seen somewhere that she has another book coming out that just like came to me, like a That's So Raven vision. And if I can find what that book is, I'll pop it on the screen if it's been announced or if I made it up. But I will certainly be reading it because I enjoyed You Again so much. Newest fictional crush. This one maybe is recency bias. But like I said, this morning I was working on notes for Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, and when I say Atreus from Slaying the Vampire Conqueror is my new fictional crush, I like mean it. The moment I met this man, I said, this is the romantic hero I'm talking about. This grumpy man that doesn't like anyone, and she thinks he's evil, but like clearly he's not because you've read a book before. Chef's kiss, he's perfect. I'm literally obsessed with him. Honorable mention, only didn't top the list because sometimes I think about how young he is, and that is Lucas Blumquist from Deep End. Oh, Deep End. I love Deep End so much. I've read Deep End multiple times this year. It came out this year. I think I've read it 2.5 times. Yeah. I'm obsessed with that book. I know I said I only had one 5-star Doppelganger by Naomi Klein, but like Deep End is like a 4.5 that every time I think about it, I'm like, was I lying to myself? Was that actually a 5? I loved that so much. I loved it truly so much. And I love Lucas. Newest favorite characters. Again, this is probably recency bias because I'm actually not super great at remembering books after I finish them. But I recently read Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and I actually like super adored the main character, Alice, and I also loved Margaret. Great Big Beautiful Life is about Alice, this young woman who is a writer, and she is headed to this small island off of the coast of Georgia where this heiress who has like gone into hiding for years currently lives. She's like in her 70s, and she's going to essentially try to convince this woman that she should be the one to write her like memoir. I loved Alice. I thought she was so great. She reminded me so much of January from Beach Read, and I like am nothing if not a January stan. And I also loved Margaret. I like heard some buzzing online before I started that people like really despised the Margaret chapters, and that's crazy to me. Those were my favorite parts. And again, it's probably recency bias, but whatever. Next, book that made you happy. Nope, not yet. First, we have book that made you cry. The book that made me cry, if this is your first video here, welcome. I cry a lot. I cry a lot in books. I'm a big weeper. Pretty much like a third of books make me cry in general. But I think the book that has made me cry the most this year is actually The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. This book is the first standalone that I think Jessa has released. I love Jessa Hastings. Like, I know Jessa Hastings is a controversial lady. She loves to say some things that are pretty cray. She made some weird statements about AI recently. Well, what are we to do? You know, what are we to do with her? Throw her in the Hague? I think Jessa Hastings has one of the most unique writing styles that I have read in recent memory. This book, The Conditions of Will, was about this family, essentially, in South Carolina, and about the daughter, Georgia. Georgia returns back to her family home from London, where she's lived since she was a high schooler when she was sent there to go to boarding school, and she returns home because her father has died. So she's returned home for her father's funeral, and the story takes place over the course of a week, and it has a romance in it, and it also has just like a lot of family drama. Like, to me, the family drama was the much more compelling part. I mean, I like enjoyed the romance as well, but we're like learning a lot about this father figure, and it really beautifully explores kind of like religious trauma and family dynamics and the ways in which like we grow up with our siblings and like what that looks like. And I just thought it was exceptional, and I did cry many a time in Conditions of Will. Okay, books that made you happy. I had to make a note here that Ali Hazelwood is of course the GOAT. I didn't want to mention her books again, but Problematic Summer Romance, Deep End were delightful. I was cheesing the whole way through, kicking my little feet. Had a great time. But if we're not going to count Ali again, my book that made me happy was probably my favorite, Bad Decision by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I've talked about this in my recap, and I do have some qualms with it. But overall, I did enjoy it. It's a fun premise. It's a rom-com about these two people, as rom-coms typically are. These two people, and they're climbing Kilimanjaro together. They're both really rich, which is, I love a rich character in a rom-com, okay? I don't want you to have to worry about money. They're both rich, though. Kind of fun. He is the ex-boyfriend of her sister, and so, obviously, they can't be together. That would be a breaking sister code. But he's, really looking after her as they climb Mount Kilimanjaro together, which is such a fun setting. Such a fun setting. I liked it. I thought it was fun. Most beautiful book you've gotten this year. My note says my own book. I do love my book. My book, I love the cover of this book. And I do have copies of it. So maybe it's that one. But also Great Big Beautiful Life, I'm kind of obsessed with. I feel like The Truth is probably Great Big Beautiful Life. I'm obsessed with, the gingham interior. And then my copy, I know, depending on where you got it, they say different things. But mine says, welcome to this great, big, beautiful life. And I think that's so cute. I also, at one point, was wearing a t-shirt. I brought this on vacation with me. This is my vacation read, or one of my vacation reads. And at one point, I was wearing a t-shirt that exactly matches it. This is, the third time. The last 3 books that Emily Henry has released, I have accidentally matched while reading multiple times. A weird thing. If you're a newsletter subscriber, a long-time newsletter subscriber, you'll know that I have, a weird thing with Emily Henry in general. Lover. Okay. What books do you need to read by the end of this year? Okay. I gave myself an easy out on this one because there are 1,000 books I want to read by the end of the year. If someone said you could pause time and just read books for as long as you want, I'd be here for 5 years getting through my 600 books on my TBR. I want to read every book that's ever existed. I do. That's my dream in life. But unfortunately, I don't really see that in the cards for me. So I picked books that I'm actually already reading. So the first one is The Last Session by Julia Bartz. I read and really enjoyed The Writing Retreat last year when it came out. She does tend to err on the side of cuckoo bananas in terms of thrillers. And if that's not your vibe, don't read her books. They're weird and out there. And I love it. This was my plane book. I was reading this on the plane ride home from my vacation, and I'm not quite done with it yet, but I should finish it soon because I'm 75% of the way through. So I would like to finish it before the end of the year. Honestly, I would like to finish it before the end of the weekend, if we're being real honest. The other one I'm currently reading and much less far into, and honestly, this one might be a struggle. I'm trying to read Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, and it's not that I'm not enjoying it, okay? I am enjoying it. It's just it takes my brain power to read it. Sally Rooney, really, I need to be focused on it. I can't be doing 12 other things at once. And I've been really struggling with finding the mental fortitude to sit down and read books that require much from me. That's a me problem, not a Sally Rooney problem. But I am 20 or 30% of the way into Intermezzo. I would love to finish it by the end of the year. I would. Fingers crossed for me. Okay. There we go. I will see you guys so soon with Crowns of Nyaxia recaps. I hope you're excited. It's going to be fun. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.